I've said this for years about valuable. I think the media doesn't get valuable. Aaron Rodgers is the most valuable player in the National Football League, and probably has been for most of the last 10 years. That doesn't mean he's better than Patrick Mahomes. It's called the most valuable player. Green Bay turns off 95% of free agents. They don't want to play there. They don't have an owner. So Aaron can't walk down the hall to a Jerry Jones. He can't walk down the hall to a Jeffrey Lurie or one of the Rooneys and say, hey, man, I need help here. I mean, Andy Reid was asking Patrick Mahomes, who do you want us to draft? Aaron is in a market that needs him significantly more than he needs the Green Bay Packers. I can't say that about almost any, and I'm not saying Mahomes isn't great, but Kansas City won a Super Bowl with Len Dawson, got to the playoffs with lots of guys. Joe Montana, Alex Smith, but there's a balance there that Mahomes is benefiting greatly from Andy Reid, that offensive line, and that front office. I mean, do you think Mahomes would be this good in Jacksonville? I'm going to go no. He'd still be great, but he wouldn't be this. There is an imbalance in Green Bay. Aaron doesn't need the Packers at all. What would they be without him? They'd be awful. LeBron's been the NBA's MVP every year he's been in the league. Michael Jordan was the MVP of the NBA every year in his prime. The league literally needed Michael Jordan. He left, 50% of the ratings disappeared into the ether. And we have to be honest about Aaron Rodgers here. There's no franchise in the National Football League that has more of an imbalance between star player and organization and who needs each other more. Upgrade to Barber Grade. Cremo Barber Grade products soothe and relieve beard itch. Shampoos, pomade. I use all of them. Cedar mist, mint, cooling, and more. Available at major retailers, Amazon, and CremoCompany.com. CREMO. By the way, I'm not a new rule on the show. It's March 10th today. So I'm going to do new rules. And then the staff's going to keep them because I'll forget them. And then right before the football season, they're going to have a book of my new rules. So I'm going to make a new rule on the show today. Okay. If Aaron Rodgers loses to Tampa Bay, I'm not going to criticize him. There's no way.
No matter how he loses.
I don't care. 50-0, 9 picks. Don't care. I'm not criticizing him. They're not going to keep Aaron Jones, Corey Linley, and couldn't get J.J. Watt. And you've got an all-star team in Tampa. Aaron's got to be looking at that. You got to be kidding. You want me to beat him? Yeah. The best running back, one of the best running backs in football. I want to keep him. The best center in the NFC, can't keep him. Tampa's like Godwin. We'll franchise you. Levante David, we'll figure it out. Shaq Barrett, let us call a math professor. We'll just work the numbers. There's everybody there. And then Tom's going to rework his, and they're got another guy. New rule.
So Aaron Rodgers is protected.
Aaron Rodgers
from the Buccaneers.
He's a made man on this show against Tampa.
Or just Tampa. Okay.
Yeah, he's got to beat Detroit.
Okay.
He's a made man on this show against Tampa this year. I think they host Tampa. They're on the schedule. So I was thinking about this. Listen, you all know the rule. 90% of you know the rule. If you've listened to me for any time, there are certain teams and certain players I'm going to talk about, okay? Steph Curry, LeBron James, James Harden, Kevin Durant, New York Yankees in baseball, Ohio State football. They've got a huge brand. Dallas Cowboys. Like you all, I'm not telling you anything that 99% of you don't know. I'm not going to spend Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence for the first time in my life. I'll talk Jags football. But by and large, a third of the NFL just doesn't get on the show. Unless you have like a star quarterback or there's a controversy. And you know this to be true. And this is the reality of our business. If I don't get a rating, if Joy don't get a number, we don't have a show. They're putting up bars. We got no show, and we're just sad. So we got to talk about stuff that the majority of people care about. So the Dallas Cowboys are literally every year the number one rating on every network. If they're on the NFL network, it gets the best rating of the year. Fox best rating, NBC best rating, CBS best rating. But when Dak was signing a contract, I thought about this driving home yesterday, is that if you take out the Dak Prescott contract discussions, Joy and I talked about, if you just took those out, he's a quarterback, it's the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, Dak, we talked about. If you took those conversations out last year It's the least I've ever talked about the Dallas Cowboys. We talked about that during the season. Very rarely. They just didn't make the lead on Mondays. They weren't interesting enough. The head coach is boring. The quarterback, Dak or Andy, don't have a lot of sizzle. And I was thinking next year, if you put Dallas's 7 best players on a piece of paper, and this morning I was thinking, Zach Martin, Jalen Smith, Amari Cooper, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dak, Zeke. I think CeeDee Lamb's pretty special. That's their 7 best players. And I kind of struggled with the 7th. Zeke, by the way, is regressing. DeMarcus Lawrence is regressing. And Amari Cooper feels overpaid now. Let's take the best team in the NFC. Tampa Bay, 7 best players. Brady, Mike Evans, Shaq Barrett, JPP, Tristan Wirfs, Levante David, Chris Godwin, and I couldn't stop. Because Devontae White made a Pro Bowl. Vita Vea is their highest-rated defensive lineman. Antoine Winfield Jr. is about as good a rookie safety as I've seen in years. And I'm not done. Tampa's got 14 special players. Dallas is a big brand. There's not a lot of special there. I mean, you asked me this morning, CeeDee Lamb has a chance to be really special. He looked really, really good. Offensive line used to be special. It's in rebuild mode. I mean, last year, people forget this. When Dak was healthy, they started the year 1-3, and the win was on a miracle onside kick recovery against awful Atlanta, or they're 0-4. Well, now you've paid Dak $40 million. I was talking, actually had dinner last night with an NFL owner. And there's certain things he can't say and can say, but we were talking about the salary cap and this misinformation by the media that it's just going to explode over the next 4 years. No, it's not. It's just going to go up gradually. $40 million for Dak is going to be a lot of money for the entire contract. And and the only way when you don't have a bunch of special players to get special players, pay for them. You can't afford it, or crush the draft. That's hard. New England doesn't crush the draft. Crushing the draft, and not a lot of people crushing the draft for stars. Jimmy Johnson on the show yesterday talking about this.
I think he's a great leader for the team. I think the team really rallies around him. He could make plays with his legs. He could run the football. And he fit into their system. He has had problems at times being inaccurate. He can win you a championship if he has great players around him. I don't think Dak can carry a football team if he doesn't have great players around him.
And he doesn't. And the only way to get him is paying for him. And I looked at Dallas' schedule next year. They face a lot of teams next year with special players. Arizona, Tampa, Kansas City, Chargers, Vikings, Saints. Those are all on the road. So you start looking at that schedule. There's a lot of teams on that schedule with special players. So I can love Dak. But I was just thinking about this when I drove home. I was just like, they just don't have a lot of special players. It's a great brand, but there's not a lot of sizzle to it. Kansas City's got sizzle. Rams got sizzle. Green Bay's got some sizzle, needs more. Buffalo's got sizzle. Tampa's got a ton of sizzle. Seattle's got some sizzle. There's some sizzle in this league. There's whoa, those are great. Arizona's got a couple guys you're like, wow. Chandler Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray. Where's Dallas's? Best player is probably a guard. That's it. I mean, the Colts last year, Jonathan Taylor, end of the year, the running back, you're like, oh, okay, that's a star. Michael Pittman, oh, it's a star. I mean, it's not wrong with having a great guard, Quentin Nelson, but it's just fun. I sat driving home, I'm like, Dallas is just not a topic as to me. If they start out 5-0, I'm not going to say I'm not going to cover them, but I don't know.